Sun City is opening up to South Africans who have supported the anti-apartheid cause. Can international artists be far behind? Thousands of Americans endorsed Nelson Mandela's call to keep the pressure on when he toured the world last year. But now, some countries, including Eastern Europe, the Soviet Union, and Finland, have softened their stance because of F.W. de Klerk's reform program.
What the South African government has done very effectively is appear to be moving very quickly on apartheid and getting rid of it. What they have done in actuality is only make promises about removing things from paper.
TransAfrica, the American lobbying group, says it's not yet time to lift sanctions. They've issued this report card saying South Africa's reforms have been inconsistent at best. In South Africa, meanwhile, grassroots groups have endorsed the continuation of sanctions. And so, a gulf seems to be growing between opponents of apartheid and governments who until recently have supported them. This is Nadja Smith reporting for South Africa Now.
The Winnie Mandela trial has taken a number of turns and may take some more by the time this program airs. Philip Tomlinson has an update.
On March 26th, a co-defendant of Mrs. Mandela told the court he was threatened by the police and coerced with the use of electric shocks into testifying against her. South Africa Now's Kenneth Dan has been covering the trial at the Rand Supreme Court, and he filed this report.
The Winnie Mandela case has taken a back seat to the recurring violence, which has been front-page news. However, of note is this recent development. Charges of assault and kidnapping against a co-accused have been dropped due to a lack of evidence that she was part of a group with Mrs. Mandela that had allegedly shambucked 3 men and a youth. For South Africa Now, this is Kenneth Dan from Johannesburg.
Meanwhile, gay organizations are protesting against Winnie Mandela's defense lawyer's suggestion that her initial motive in the case flowed from a desire to protect boys facing homosexual abuse from a white minister who denies the charges. The gay groups say this whole approach is homophobic. SouthScan reports the defense is also challenging the media, implying that the charge against Mrs. Mandela has been trumped up. This anti-apartheid news service says this tactic is creating a flood of criticisms against the ANC, which has not unambiguously distanced itself from the trial. For South Africa Now, this is Philip Tomlinson.
I'm Joseph D. Shaw with what may be our final Frontline Focus report. In Mozambique, government reports indicate the war with the Renamo bandit army is escalating. The government says 149 Renamo rebels were killed last week. In Angola, UNITA rebels reportedly robbed a branch of the National Bank and took 200 people hostage, while the National Assembly agreed to set up a multi-party system as a step towards peace with the CIA-backed UNITA forces. Namibia has called on the United States to pressure the South African government to return its only deepwater port of Walfish Bay, which is still under South African control. Meanwhile, the country battles another problem: homelessness. Thousands of Namibians, unable to afford adequate housing, live in overcrowded squatter camps. This week, we bring you the story of Samstan, or Standing Together, a self-help collective which assists domestic workers to purchase and build their own houses.
Samstan was formed in 1987 when homeless people and community activists realized that they would not be able to get enough donations to provide houses for all the homeless. Erika Gapamushe is one of Samstan's 600 members. Like most members, she is a single mother. Until recently, she was working as a domestic worker. Now she works for the Samstan building team as a laborer.
Ik was dakloos toe ek by Samstan gegaan. Ek het geen heenkome gehad nie. En toe ek van Samstan gehoor het dat die mense help wat dakloos is, het ek gou daarheen gegaan. En toe ek daar gegaan het, dit was nie 'n maand lank nie. En toe het hulle vir my tydelike akkommodasie gegee. Is hier. En voor die het ek altyd gereeld vergaderings toe gegaan en stene gemaak.
Samstan is controlled by its members. We must take all important decisions and must therefore attend weekly meetings. From amongst the members, a number of committees are elected. They meet regularly to make decisions regarding loan applications and house building.
Kan index daar kom om die stenen te komen, dan hoeven we niet zaterdag te komen werken. Dan is het zaterdag af.
All Samstan members must regularly make bricks. There are a number of steps one has to follow to get a house. First, you lay down a deposit for a plot. As you pay off the plot in monthly installments, you start clearing it. Then you erect a temporary shelter. Once the credit committee has agreed to pass your loan application, you decide on a plan for the house. When the plan is registered with the municipality, you can begin digging your foundations. To reduce the cost of building, we have to do a lot of the work. We make the bricks, clear the plots, dig foundations, and we help with the labor. This is difficult to organize since we have children and we also work during the day.
De belangrijkste issue van lae-inkomstenbehuizing is die toegankelijkheid tot grond, goedkoop grond of vrij grond. Ons voel die huiswerker moet kind of een soort huistoelaag krijgen, zodat zij haar erf kan afbetalen of haar diensten kan betalen. Dit moet niet afgetrekt worden van haar salaris, zoals sommige van hen nou doen niet. Want in hierdie land worden die rijkers gesubsidieerd door die staat. Die rijkers krijgen, die wat bij die staat werken, civil servants krijgen huizen, zodat ze gratis van die regering af. Die civil servants krijgen vervoer gratis naar hulle werk toe, maar die armes in hierdie land het geen subsidie nie, baie weinig subsidie. So daarom voel ons die wiel moet bietjie verander, dat die subsidie gaan na die armes, want daar die mense wat hoë inkomste het kan vir hulle self.
You're watching South Africa Now, the television news magazine that goes behind the headlines.
South Africa Now has made a practice of covering the coverage as well as the issues. This week, a media issue close to home. Global Vision, the company that produces this program, has protested a decision by the Public Broadcasting Service to refuse to show its Mandela in America documentary. This letter from PBS claims the program is outdated because it doesn't include an update on the